Hey, good morning, y'all. Josh's Severe Weather. Today is the day we deal with destructive weather across much of the central part of the country. And I'm going to get right to it for you guys here. We've got a powerful low pressure system getting ready to move right through the upper Midwest. We're expecting a huge tornado outbreak to evolve this afternoon across parts of Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, maybe northern Louisiana, and spreading nighttime into parts of Dixie Alley here. Just an incredible storm system with blizzard conditions in the upper Midwest developing tonight. And some places dealing with severe weather this afternoon, snow overnight tonight, and then heavy snow continuing on into the Great Lakes and northern Canada for the day tomorrow. We'll have more severe weather tomorrow. It'll be on a smaller scale than today, but I'll get to that in a little bit. And we aren't even done with severe weather. This is the end of March. More outbreaks expected starting next week. Another big one expected here on Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. The Storm Prediction Center has a level 4 out of 5 moderate risk for severe weather, kind of in two modes. The first mode is this afternoon across the upper Mississippi Valley, Des Moines, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Quad Cities, Peoria, Quincy, and getting into northern Chicago area. And then we've got another moderate risk that will evolve later this afternoon and continue tonight, where strong tornadoes are likely as well over parts of eastern Arkansas, the Boot Heel of Missouri, western Tennessee, northwest Mississippi, and southwestern parts of Kentucky. And it is not out of the question that we could see an upgrade to a high risk. I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on it. Regardless, we are going to deal with a major severe weather outbreak that could impact the lives of over 60 million Americans today into tonight, and including parts of the eastern United States tomorrow as well. Here's our Storm Prediction Center tornado outlook for today. Two areas to watch. The first one this afternoon. These will be quick moving storms. Some of them could be significant EF2 tornadoes or higher. Another area to watch into tonight, which could produce more dangerous results because it'll be coming and moving quickly across parts of the deep south into the overnight hours tonight, even into the Nashville area potentially. And there's a possibility this could still get enlarged a little bit more and include the Chicago region, Evansville, Hopkinsville, parts of Kentucky, Nashville, maybe even into areas a little bit farther south and east, depending on if things linger longer tonight. We have a powerful wind outlook. Not only is there a threat for tornadoes, but also the threat for hurricane force winds developing this afternoon in eastern Iowa, continuing into the late day hours into north central and central Illinois, as well as just north of the St. Louis and Jefferson City areas, and also powerful winds expected this afternoon into tonight over parts of the mid-south as well. There'll be a threat for hail, especially on the northern part of this storm system. It's bimodal. There's kind of two modes that'll take over, and I'll show you the radar forecast here in just a little bit and how that's going to evolve. As we get to the day tomorrow, this area of severe weather is going to shift eastward, and it's a smaller area, but or I should say a little bit less intense area, but a slight risk now for much of Pennsylvania and New York State. Not quite to New York City or Philly. There's still a marginal risk all the way into New England tomorrow, late day into the evening. There's also a risk for severe weather across the southeast, from the Carolinas and southeast Virginia down into northern Florida. And I would not be shocked to see somewhat of an upgrade tomorrow here to a slight risk, as there is some potential for tornadoes. For whatever reason, the Storm Prediction Center has less than 2%. I think there will be at least a 2% down in here if I were going to make a forecast, but certainly wind is going to be the biggest threat tomorrow. And regardless, we're going to see strong winds outside of thunderstorms tomorrow as the storm system deepens and moves eastward. A lot of wind energy with it, a lot of air mass change as we quickly warm up today and tomorrow on the eastern seaboard, and then quickly cool off right behind the storm here in the Great Lakes tomorrow. Day three, we should see quieter weather, but next week we've got yet again the potential for some severe weather as we get into day four. The predictability right now a little bit too low. This is for Monday. Tuesday, on the other hand, and Tuesday night, already a 30% risk in areas that are under the gun today. So Kansas City, St. Louis, Fayetteville, Arkansas, southern Illinois, southern Iowa, west central Illinois. And this area could continue to grow as we get closer to that event, and may continue into the day on Wednesday farther south and east. Right now, there is not a slight risk shown. However, I think that is going to be certainly in the picture here. Here's what's going on. Let me look at today's European and show you guys a powerful trough moving eastward into the southern plains this morning. and then spreading quickly into the Ohio Valley here this afternoon and into tonight. Very fast winds aloft over 100 knots, which is 115 miles per hour. And this upper low is going to track eastward and pull colder air down behind it. A lot of fast wind across the northeast for tomorrow. So definitely a lot of energy, a lot of dynamics for a major outbreak expanding over the next 24 hours to even 36 hours. The next storm that moves into the west is also very powerful. You can see it follows kind of a similar track a little farther north, but brings some incredible wind energy right into the Great Lakes and the Midwest here next Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's going to track north and east, and we will likely see additional storms coming in following that, although really these next two are the ones that I've got my eye on at this point. This is 850 millibars. And this is our low-level jet, and you can see very intense wind late today into tonight, spreading across the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley states, and still quite a bit of wind energy tomorrow as this storm moves across the northeast, and fast enough winds down here to support some severe weather in the southeast. We get a break, and then I think we could have even a worse situation next week. This is Tuesday, and it looks like a hurricane aloft at this point, up at 5,000 feet. So a very intense storm system. This one's going to produce even more snow on the backside of it, and blizzard conditions, including a bigger area than today. So a very dangerous setup next week. I'm not going to focus on that one right now. We've got to worry about what's happening today and tonight first. But that is what I'll be talking about here this weekend into early next week. Here is our surface map. Forgive me for not uploading the latest. We're going to see multiple areas of showers and storms breaking out today into this evening over eastern parts of the country and the Great Lakes. Behind that first wave, we'll see more intense wind and more intense storms developing through the afternoon hours from northeast Texas into Iowa and Wisconsin. And as our low pressure system deepens and moves east-northeastward, it will move quickly, and storms are going to race eastward at 40 to 60 miles per hour. So everything's going to move very quickly today into tonight, and that's going to obviously cause big time problems. As that storm wraps up, we see heavy snow back behind the storm system into Dakotas, into northern Iowa. Areas that are going to have severe weather this afternoon will have heavy snow falling late tonight, around 2 or 3 in the morning, and then that storm moves eastward. And we'll still have a big area of showers and storms tomorrow. I don't think a large tornado threat, but certainly the risk for quite a bit of fast moving storms. And then much colder air will follow with snow showers tomorrow night over parts of the interior northeast. A quieter day for Sunday. Storms will pop up down south Sunday evening. There could be localized severe weather in this region. And then our next storm moves in through the Rockies. Another big snowfall for parts of Utah, Wyoming, and Colorado. Eventually Denver sees snow out of this Monday night into Tuesday morning. Then our next storm deepens very quickly, a bomb cyclone here with intense storms likely popping up along this dry line ahead of our front here across Missouri here. This is going to be late Tuesday into Tuesday night. Iowa and Illinois and Wisconsin, again, another wave of severe weather, potential tornadoes and destructive wind. This will race eastward Wednesday and weaken some, but we could still see severe weather down south, a huge winter storm up north, and expanding into Canada. And there will be frozen precipitation in parts of Ontario and Quebec and maybe interior northern New England as well. So this next storm is going to be very dynamic, and we'll continue to have unsettled weather down south behind it as this front hangs up over the Gulf states. All right, so here's a look at today. This is a newer model I haven't brought up yet, but it's pretty intense. RRFS stands for Rapid Refresh Forecast System. And you can see we're looking at showers and storms across the Great Lakes this morning, and then over Minnesota and Wisconsin later today. And then we see storms blowing up very quickly here over Iowa and Illinois. Just a very intense setup here. You'll see kind of this big area that forms here over Iowa. Supercell storms, multiple rotating storms, especially in here. We could see some EF2, EF3 type tornadoes. There's a second area that pops up in the warm sector here as well over central Illinois and eastern Missouri, and that could target St. Louis with potential tornadoes, especially this line that we're watching here, a tornadic looking line of storms here. So definitely something that we're going to be keeping an eye on here as we get through the afternoon. And these areas of storms just continue to grow as they track into Illinois. And I think they'll hold together when they get into Indiana as well tonight. So definitely something that I'm concerned about. You got this line of storms right here, and this is around 7 o'clock Central, and that is going to move towards the Chicagoland and Milwaukee areas here as we get towards around dark tonight. So a very intense setup expected. Farther to the east, let me get this out of the way here. Actually, let's zoom in on Iowa so I can show you that as well. We'll see this is 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. And then right around 2 to 3 o'clock this afternoon, Des Moines under the gun, spreading north and eastward through much of central Illinois around mid-afternoon, and then eastern Iowa. I realize it's different. Iowa, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, 5 o'clock, multiple tornado warnings expected, destructive wind, even if we don't see rotating storms, we see just a huge area of instability. And this is a sounding from Iowa City. And you can see definitely a tornado risk here. Very unstable, fast winds aloft that rotate quickly from south-southeast on the ground up to southwest aloft at about 1 kilometer aloft. So a very quick increase in wind from the ground up, very strong amount of wind helicity and wind shear as that direction changes quickly. We'll likely see fast-moving tornadoes in this area. And even if we don't have tornadoes and a line of storms forms, we're going to see destructive wind out of this region here. Even Wisconsin's not immune to this. We'll see this moving up towards La Crosse and then eventually into Madison and Janesville as we get later into the day. I'm going to show you the HRRR, which goes out a little bit longer than the RRFS, and you can see not quite as impressive, but you definitely see these storms moving into southwestern Wisconsin and then weakening some by the time they get to I-39 here. All right, Illinois is the area I'm definitely concerned about. Multiple areas of storms popping up here. So we're going to have rain and thunderstorms this morning. Those are going to move out. Then we'll get some clearing early this afternoon. And then two areas that we're watching. Number one, just to the north of Springfield, if this model is correct, and definitely a tornado risk. This very much is concerning with the wind speeds aloft strengthening with time. And then after this moves through, we've got another line. So probably two waves coming through. This is Peoria to Springfield, and definitely some concern for tornadoes across this region. You can see strong wind shear from southerly winds going to southwesterly. So they definitely back with height, and a very unstable wind profile and temperature profile as well here. So we'll also see storms across Indiana that we've got to watch out for around South Bend here. And I'll show you the HRRR here since it goes out farther than the RRFS. And you can see the HRRR is pretty much in line with the RRFS. Storms blowing through the Chicagoland area around 5, 6 o'clock. A quick break, and then the next wave comes through around 8, 9 o'clock, continues into Indiana, into southern Michigan, Indianapolis, Evansville under the gun here this evening, Bloomington as well, and then weakening some as storms move towards Louisville and Cincinnati right around midnight or just before midnight tonight. And then we'll dry out. It'll turn much colder, and there'll be some snow showers on the backside here by daybreak tomorrow across northern and central Indiana and Illinois, as well as parts of lower Michigan. This is all possibly going to be snow here. If you pull up a sounding from West Lafayette, where Purdue is, you can see that it's a bit above freezing near the ground, but definitely below zero here, just above the ground. So whatever falls will be snow at this point here. Missouri, we definitely have concerns for severe weather. Scattered showers and storms move out. The RRFS actually has storms popping up here across western Missouri and southeastern parts of Kansas during the late morning hours today near Kansas City, but more likely we see stuff popping up around Columbia. And then as the afternoon wears on, we have a tornado threat over eastern parts of Missouri, and especially when it hits the Mississippi River. These are rotating storm tracks. We also have to watch southern Missouri here as the afternoon wears on here for yet additional storms popping up, and maybe two waves here moving through the St. Louis area, but definitely concerning down here across the Boot Heel, as well as in the St. Louis area around 6, 7 o'clock if this model is correct. Things should clear as we get later into the evening hours, and then everything is east of the Mississippi River. Arkansas, we have a big time threat for tornadoes as we get later into the afternoon. We see storms popping up around 2 o'clock in central Arkansas, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock around Little Rock. This is potentially a tornadic storm, according to this model run here. You can see quite a bit of instability and wind shear near the ground on up. Memphis could see a pop-up storm, but more likely in Memphis, you're going to get hit towards this evening around 6, 7 o'clock. So we see multiple supercell storms tracking through this area. It'll consolidate into a line later tonight as it moves east of Arkansas. Let me show you the HRRR again here, and I apologize for jumping around, but just a lot to show you, and I want to give you guys the best I can with showing you all the models. So as we go back here on the HRRR, it looks like Jonesboro and Little Rock 3 to 4 o'clock this afternoon is your time frame. Memphis could get hit right around 6 o'clock. That moves through, and additional storms will be in the area into the early evening hours. So maybe 2 waves moving through into northern Mississippi, and then we should get the all clear here around midnight in Arkansas. Farther east, definitely, I'm not going to show you the rapid refresh forecast system. I'll show you the HRRR. They're similar. RRFS a little bit more intense, but we see storms moving through eastern Kentucky this morning, and then a few scattered showers and storms in this next wave later this morning, right up until about lunchtime or so. And then things should clear out, and we'll see kind of a more open, warm sector. Storms pop up in western Kentucky, western Tennessee, and track towards Nashville around 9 o'clock. A bigger line of storms gets going here along the Indiana Wabash River and then down the Ohio here. And this continues, and we've got kind of 2 areas under the gun that we need to watch here. The first area near and to the south of Nashville at 11 o'clock. The second area is going to be an intense line right behind it from Jackson right on up to Louisville and Cincinnati. This area here may get overtaken by the second area, which will produce widespread wind damage as it rolls through quickly tonight. We'll lose some instability. That will be the fuel for stronger tornadoes, but we will not lose the wind energy. So regardless, we're going to have severe weather. Power outages are looking likely here. And definitely as the night wears on, we still have to be watching for things around Cookeville and moving through eastern Kentucky between midnight and 3 in the morning. And then as things hit the mountains of the Carolinas and Virginia, they will fade around daybreak tomorrow. Quieter day expected tomorrow here. Alabama and Mississippi, we are under the gun as we get later into the afternoon hours in Mississippi, northern Mississippi in particular, around 7, 8 o'clock, and then the rest of Mississippi around 10, 11, and midnight. This is the area that got leveled by the tornado last night. They'll be under the gun at midnight tonight. Same for this part of Mississippi. We're likely to see a few tornadoes, and this continues into Alabama near and after midnight. If you're a James Spann fan, definitely follow his posts here later tonight across Mississippi and Alabama, because overnight there could still be a few tornadic cells within this line of storms between 3, 4, and 5 a.m., and then things should weaken when they get down to about Atlanta and Montgomery here around daybreak tomorrow. We could still see a few stronger storms tomorrow afternoon, but I think they are moving south and east of this area. Looking at the HRRR, should be a pretty quiet day in the Carolinas and Georgia today. We'll see storms overnight into northwestern Georgia, northeast Alabama, and southwestern North Carolina. There may be a little severe weather out of these in the Atlanta area around 8 in the morning, even Greenville and over to Charlotte around 9 in the morning. But as we get into the afternoon hours, we have to be more concerned with this area here, the lower Piedmont into the PD River Basin, maybe a few tornadic storms possibly near Statesboro, Georgia. I pull up the sounding tomorrow, and you can see there is a tornado threat here as winds do increase quickly and rotate back from southwest to west-southwest with height. These will probably not be strong tornadoes, but there is enough energy for maybe an isolated strong tornado somewhere in this area. I think it would be west of 95, but we'll have to watch Savannah. We'll have to watch Beaufort County and Ridgeland and those areas in South Carolina as this moves through here in the afternoon. Should quiet down by dark as it turns drier and colder. Here's a look at the rest of the east tomorrow, and we see rain and thunderstorms moving through in waves today into tonight. Things will continue to be wet in the morning in the northeast tomorrow, and then our front will start blossoming into a stronger line of storms here later in the afternoon. And this will move into the Hudson Valley, Delaware valleys around sunset tomorrow between 7 and 8 o'clock, and then still going into New England here and on Long Island around 8 or 9 o'clock. But I don't think we're looking at a tornado threat at this point. I'm just thinking that we're looking at a threat for locally strong winds here. It is going to be a windy day for certain. All right, so we definitely have the parameters in place for significant tornadoes across Iowa, but especially across Missouri, Arkansas, spreading into Illinois this afternoon. Just an off-the-charts outbreak here, according to this model. Some very intense parameters. This factors in your wind shear. It factors in instability, but especially the wind shear. And it looks like Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, Western Kentucky, Indiana all have the risk for some strong tornadoes. Is everybody going to get hit? I don't think so. fact, if you look at the helicity tracks here, you kind of can get a, whoops, I don't know why it did that for me, but you can kind of get a feel for where the model is showing these tornadic storms potentially. One right across eastern Iowa into northern Wisconsin or northern Illinois. The next one right into Chicago, then Peoria. We have additional ones down across Missouri and Tennessee. It's really tough to say who's going to get these rotating storms, but anybody in this area needs to be watching out for that threat. Down south, our threat increases as we get towards dark tonight. Mississippi, northern Alabama, western Tennessee. It does decrease a little bit, but there's still, under the cover of the darkness, still enough factor for some wind shear to produce some tornadoes right on into the overnight hours into Alabama. And then tomorrow we have to watch out in southeastern Georgia, which I will show you guys here. You can see there's another area that grows in western PA, western New York. Probably not going to be strong tornadoes, but maybe a tornado. But the area of greater concern is going to be across the Carolinas and down into Georgia in the afternoon tomorrow. A smaller chance that we could see a tornado somewhere around Philadelphia, the Delmarva, up into the interior of the Northeast. And then things will quiet down as we get towards tomorrow night. There's a snowy side of this storm. We'll see wave 1 bringing a few inches here over the Superior and Huron regions. Wave 2 is going to bring very heavy snowfall this afternoon, especially tonight in South Dakota, with blizzard conditions expected, potentially over 20 inches of snow. And this will spread south and east into central Wisconsin and northern Iowa, where many places here are going to see 3 to 6 inches of snow. Some will see over a foot. I know we're heading towards a top 5 winter in the Twin Cities. I know it's not winter, but it is late winter for them up there. And definitely a big area of snow encompassing the north central U.S. You can see in South Dakota, things just go gangbusters here. Late this afternoon into tonight, 3 to 4 inch per hour snow rates, and then 1 to 2 inch per hour snow rates farther east on the Mississippi River Valley. And oh, by the way, more coming next week. We see these numbers pretty much double to triple with our next storm Monday into Tuesday. So a huge, huge snowfall here coming in 2 waves. In Canada into New England, we're seeing big snow totals over the next several days, the potential for 30 to 40 centimeters of fresh snow, a lot of it tonight into tomorrow, and then the next wave towards the middle of next week. And finally, wind is going to be a problem. The NAM is showing 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts across a huge part of the country, increasing to 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts in parts of Ohio, Indiana, Wisconsin here tonight into the Tennessee Valley, and then very windy tomorrow as well across the mid-Atlantic. We'll see gusts over 50 miles per hour in this region, so expect some power outages as well. Thank you all so much for your time. I really appreciate it. If you could like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. I very much appreciate it. I really want everybody to be safe. I am praying for the safety of folks. I know this looks very bad. I'm hoping that it's not, but I think it will be. And I want to give all the glory to God, who gives me the strength and the calling to do this every day. Ephesians 3:20, now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us. Put your faith in the Lord. Do not be afraid of everything. Look, I know people are going to be hit hard here today and tonight, but be faithful that God will be the deliverer and will be the healer and the redeemer in whatever you do. And he will be with us no matter what happens, because there is a higher power up there, I believe. And through his son, Jesus Christ, we are saved by grace. We've been given that gift if we choose to accept it. The Lord will do exceedingly abundantly above all that we're asking him to do. We just need to put our faith in him and to pray for those who are in the path of these storms as well, to be healed from whatever they go through tonight. I thank you all for your time. I'm going to give you guys some updates on my community page as this storm wears on. We may do a short video later tonight. We'll have to wait and see how things go, but I really pray for the safety of everybody here. And I apologize if this is seen as fear-mongering, but from everything I'm seeing as a degree meteorologist, it looks pretty bad. So please be safe. We'll chat again tomorrow morning. God bless you.